when Peter made the prediction that we would have a cyber nuclear war this year, 2022, it seemed very aggressive to me, but it seems like we're well underway. Here's Peter with today's Not So Critical update.
This is a story from Wired, which is talking about how Russia is being hacked at an unprecedented scale. It's super interesting to me because it's quite a good and well-researched in Wired style report. And it talks about how amateur guerrilla teams, this IT army, are daily organizing attacks against Russia. And it's kind of fascinating because it's what I thought would happen, but in a different way. So I thought it was going to be more along the lines of countries themselves fighting against each other and the countries providing the resources for it. Well, what's actually happened is in the traditional style of the internet is that amateur, people who don't do this as a day job are organizing very well to do what they think should be done. So there's this, groups of people, groups of hackers on Telegram are saying, right, okay, here's the targets. There's kind of self-organizing groups, and they're figuring out who to attack and who to DDoS, who to take down, looking for targets, and then doing it. And
it's
then
vigilante justice.
Yes, but it's done in the true style of the internet, which is really kind of professionally almost,
Right.
like probably better than an actual national military would be able to organize it, because it's for people who know what they're doing. And there's no red tape. It's all very much kind of like agile hacking, It's yeah. And
at the beginning, go ahead.
No, what I was going to say was, this is exactly what I thought countries would be doing. I thought that they would have some kind of well-funded cyber attack units, which may be made up of hackers, but probably people that they've just hired, who would be continuously attacking, another country.
I mean, how do you know that's not what's happening?
Because, no, I think it is happening. It's just that it's not public. Right.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, the CIA has a long history of subversions in other countries. Like, could they be behind coordinating some of these attacks that appear to be so well coordinated because they actually are?
Right.
Maybe.
It's definitely possible that. Well, actually, no. It is for sure a fact almost that multiple government agencies are, taking part, or at least giving maybe direction, or giving tips, or just watching these public Telegram groups. In the beginning of the Russian invasion, of course,
dropping hints, encouraging, pointing in the right direction,
maybe, or just being like, a new tool appeared by this pseudo-anonymous guy on GitHub that will let you DDoS super efficiently. I joined
so much red tape internally inside the NSA or whoever. I reckon to release one of these things would take so much red tape to get approval to release it to hackers.
Well, I don't know. Listen, especially the NSA, they do a lot of open source work. So, is it really that? And if we go and look at the Snowden files, the red tape, once you're inside the walls, there really were none. That these guys were doing. They were doing custom queries on whoever. And they were printing out approvals on the spot to be able to run custom queries against a person of interest because, well, I just labeled him a person of interest. He's a potential terrorist. I'm just gonna do this. So my point is less so on the. I don't really these agencies creating custom software or participating or whatever, maybe. Are they involved in some way or some capacity? There's no doubt.
Oh yeah, okay, right. Being involved in some way, but I think the whole kind of like actively aiding them surreptitiously is done on a lesser scale than we might. Well,
Sure.
see, here's the thing. I can imagine that internally tools may be wildly abused by government employees, but this is kind of a step beyond. This is what you're saying might happen is like going and releasing a 0-day exploit to a group of hackers who have self-organized to attack Russia. I mean, it would probably make sense, but
at the same time, Russians are also in these same groups. So the vetting process is non-existent. Anyone can join these groups. I did at the beginning of the invasion. I joined the IT Army Telegram group to watch. It's extremely organized and they're extremely fast. They get, some of the leading figures in there. They set up a list of targets for the day.
Yeah. That's how it works.
You go and try and hit that target and that domain, and that server is down, and it's probably going to stay down for a while. And these are like services that Russian citizens need. Like, of course, sucks for them. They didn't decide to do this, but that's what it takes to topple a dictator or an authoritarian. So yeah, I think the IT army, it's really cool. I'm not happy that Peter predicted correctly.
No, I'm not either. I didn't want this to happen. And it's not quite the cyber nuclear war that I was thinking of. There's no kind of like bomb that's being set off, which is kind of was part of my prediction. I thought there would be like and the escalation element hasn't really happened yet. And I think that's partly to do with the fact that it's still relatively Russia against Ukraine. If it escalates in real life, then the cyber aspect might take off. And the other thing that surprises me is that it seems to have been harder. I guess I gave governments too much credit, which is really a schoolboy error. Like I thought that they would be more on the ball here, and have these attack teams ready. I would have thought they'd have something like these guys ready to go. And if they did. Yeah, they did need to. That's the thing, because it took until now for this to have kind of, been created by other people.
I wonder when the transition happens in the press or at the political level from these are all individual groups coming largely from the West to this is the West attacking us, and now we're looking at it at the state level.
That's a good question. I don't know. I think 6 months to a year, because what will happen is there'll be people inside the government going, hey, you know what, guys, we should be doing this. And there are other people will be going, yes, okay, let's fill out a form to make sure that this happens at some point and get a formal review committee. And then we can forward it to our superiors to have them review it. And then it will get sent back. And, it's bureaucracy, red tape, I think, is the thing.
Well, I think every government, I think every first world government has the equivalent of a black ops cyber team. And these guys are way more responsible and autonomous. And when I say responsible, I mean responsible as in what you do is your fault.
Okay.
If you get arrested because you attacked Hungary, that's on you. We're not going to represent you. Good luck. But also, here's a bunch of money.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And it's just that makes way more sense to me. And really the key word here is that they're way more autonomous and they're probably way more efficient. There's no red tape, and they're probably in action right now across the continent or across the world. I mean, we're just not hearing about them.
I don't think it's about the money necessarily. That it's about Mike's favorite topic, marketing. Sorry, John, I interrupted you.
No, go ahead.
I think it's about marketing, and I think it's about agility. And just kind of, there's no money being put into these Telegram groups.
These are just
people's time. Oh no, when I was talking about money, I was saying just the government employees, these cyber black ops groups. They are probably getting a lot of money. They are government employees or officials or soldiers even.
Yeah.
The IT army is volunteers completely.
Yeah,
these are just people who have come together.
I agree with John on both points, that once you get into that Black Ops budget, you have a lot more flexibility. So yes, in government there is bureaucracy, but then once you get in that black box, all bets are off. You do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I think the other side is and the more I think about this, the more this makes sense to me is look at the influence campaign Russia ran against the United States during both of our 2016 and 2020 to promote on so Discord, promote conspiracies on social media.
Discord, you should join our Discord.
Agreed.
Link will be
and
below.
so those kinds of influence campaigns that you don't see, you're not aware of, they're just happening in the background, can be very effective. And I am not at all surprised. I would be shocked if it's not happening, that the U.S. government is doing the exact same thing in these kinds of groups.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's not like they're like, oh, wait, no, we're not going to do that because that's immoral. That's the wrong thing to do. I mean, sorry. Hey, guys. Yeah, we ain't going to do that. Shit.
Yeah, they're not putting these guys on terrorist watch lists. They're putting these guys on hiring short lists.
Well, so funny enough, to change the topic slightly, I remember an article ran a couple of years ago that was basically the FBI has a cyber hiring problem because they want an army of hackers. Who doesn't? But a lot of these guys are just really, really intelligent stoners, or they have a criminal record or whatever, and they cannot bring them in.
Also,
That's funny.
Also, by the way, I became aware recently of the salaries for government jobs. They are shockingly low. Oh,
they don't get paid. Yeah. They don't get paid very well.
I took it like half of what you could get in the corporate sector.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
The only reason you join the public sector in technology is because you are a true patriot. And also, if you are fresh out of the military, you still have most likely some sort of clearance, which is extremely attractive for these agencies.
Yeah.
So it's also job security.
For private industry. Private industry,
of course, as well. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They'll love that.
You get if you want real money in government contracting is where it's at.
Right.